One of the books that was given to me during that time was I guess it's a Stoic book or Stoicism book, but
Yeah.
the title of the book is "The Obstacle is the Way."
My favorite book.
An instructor. You know, we here in the Comeback Cast are always focusing on positive and people making a comeback from whatever adversity it might be. I'm sure your age range of your students, we were talking a little bit earlier, is quite wide. So some in our group, probably some that are young.
Mostly, yeah.
But talk about kind of how that relationship with your students, regardless of their age, has influenced you, the impact it has on you, and how you leverage that for your own comeback and helping them with their comebacks in whatever case has led them to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I can answer it this way, I think like the nature of the game is comeback. Right. This is like you guys have played and
every shot. Right?
Yeah, Burke, you've played at a high level. Have you ever played a perfect round of golf?
No.
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 No. And does it vary sometimes hole to hole?
Absolutely.
Yeah, shot to shot even, right? Yeah, so I think the nature of this game, I think people think you need a great putting stroke or a great swing. What you really need is grit and persistence because you're going to struggle in this game. It's a brutal game. It's not easy. And you're always going to find yourself, whether it's in the middle of a hole or in the middle of 9 holes or in the middle of a round or a tournament round, you're going to find yourself coming back from some sort of disappointment. You know, you don't hit the center of the face on every shot and make every putt. You know,
how do you convey that to your students and help them get through it?
I mean, it's something that they just need to know that this is the nature of the game. Like if you can't wrap your head around that fact, that then you just need to choose another sport. You know what I mean? Because it's up and down. And there's no trajectory of improvement that's linear.
Yeah.
You know, you may be headed in the right direction, but the graph looks like that.
Chris, I had a couple of questions. First of all, I think your Michigan State example and things like that, I think everything happens for some kind of reason, for whatever that is. And it sounds like you learned from that, you regretted it, but you also moved on and you had a very successful career. One of the things that I heard you say, which I think is really important in terms of your students, but also yourself, is using the word grit and kind of what does that mean to you? How do you look for it? And how have you found it tied to your success, maybe even your students' success?
Yeah. Oh, great question. I've often wondered, is it something that people are born with, or is it something that you develop?
Yeah.
And I just think it doesn't matter what sport or what endeavor, you better have it, right? You better, and if you don't have it, if it's not something that comes naturally, you better develop it. Because there's just no way around it. You're going to have setbacks and obstacles. And I would say one of the time you'll find a lot of stories about wins and losses, but in golf, as you're working on your swing and developing your game, and Burke, I'm sure you can speak to this as a player, that you can hit it. It can be a Tuesday and you're hitting the ball beautifully and scoring well, and then you wake up on Wednesday and you're like, where did my game go? Like, where did my swing go? All of a sudden, have you ever experienced something like that?
Of course.
Sure.
Hole by hole, hole to hole.
Right. And so I think that's why I emphasize grit and perseverance, even more so than technique. And I use object lessons and people like Lee Trevino and other players that they didn't have it easy, Ray Floyd and some of these guys. And when you learn their story, they persevered. Like, they had to have grit. They're not country club kids. They didn't have millions of dollars backing them. They were playing for their living, like literally.
Well, as you know, we are on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing our podcast on today. And there is a great Lee Trevino YouTube story about exactly that.
Well, talk a little bit, Chris, about how you transitioned. You got us through the football and soccer years.
Yeah.
What led you to golf? Did you have a particular
Well,
mentor? Because that's a comeback story in and of itself.
Yeah. So football was over, right? I mean, I had a brief, like 1 week stint in the Canadian Football League. It had nothing to do with the league. It was me, but I was already hurt, which is, I guess, another comeback story, because during my 4.5 years at Eastern, I had 2 surgeries. So I had my shoulder completely reconstructed and I had my left ankle reconstructed. So for all intents and purposes, football was done for me.
Yeah.
And but I was still trying. And then at some point I would realize, like, okay, I've got to do something else. And but when you're a competitor and you've played sports all your life, and that's what you're looking for. And so I still wanted an outlet for the competitiveness, and I wanted still an outlet to have something to work on, And so golf was the natural segue for me. Again, like I said, I was introduced to those sports early, but ended up falling into more of a physical sport, probably by peer pressure and because of my size. Everyone always thought, well, you're such a big kid, you got to play football. And I probably, if that pressure wasn't there, I probably would have chose golf, tennis, or soccer. But ended up playing football, did well, and then transitioned into golf as more of an outlet. And I thought that I was going to play there too. I was competing, I was playing tournaments, I was moving up. And at some point you realize, okay, well, I'm not good enough to make it. There's just no other way to say it.
How'd that feel?
It's brutal. It's brutal, but you have to come to that realization. Thank God, I was able to transition into coaching and teaching and instruction. And it's such a blessing, because I'm actually more fulfilled as a coach and a teacher than I ever was as a player. And it's an honest statement when I say I feel better when a student comes to me, even if their personal best is 100 and they finally broke 100 and they shot 99. I have more fulfillment out of that player posting that 99 than I would posting a 69 or a 68 in my own game. And I never thought that would be the case. You don't know until you get into something. But I like to think that I have a bent towards teaching. I'm able to understand the concepts and communicate it simply. And so I can have a student that's 7 years old or a student that's 87 years old. And I can find a way to match and have those techniques work with their ability and their movement patterns and their flexibility. And so there's a lot of fulfillment in coaching.